Keith Locke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to follow up the speech of Nikki Kay, and she talked about the issue of transparency, and the Greens are very much in favour of transparency, and it's good that this bill is introducing somewhat more transparency in terms of the payments of the Governor-General, annuities and the rest of it, and also the really laying out how the Remuneration Authority, an independent body, will be determining such matters in the future. But I think if you want to have proper transparency, that transparency has to go across the board. And I think that the suggestion in the debate earlier today that there be transparency, more transparency in the actual nomination for Governor-General to go to the Queen or King at a later point perhaps, that isn't a process. That process isn't as transparent as I think Nikki Kay would like, in that when a nomination goes off to the Queen, how are we to know what factors are being taken into consideration? It's all done in the deep, dark corners of the 9th floor of the beehive, I think, and certainly the Green Party has never been consulted on who should be the Governor-General. And because that lacks transparency and proper accountability, I think there is good reason to think that if we're to make the transparency and appointment parallel with the transparency and remuneration that this bill is going down the road to improve, then we have to have some process whereby it's all out in the open and names come before Parliament, and Parliament determines in one way or another which candidate for nomination to go to the Queen they come up with in a democratic process, and a much more transparent process. And my SOP, which unfortunately wasn't able to come before this committee stage, would have addressed that. The other point in relation to the annuities and Clause 8 in the bill is that it does talk about the annuities being paid at a yearly rate determined from time to time by the Remuneration Authority for each complete year not exceeding 5 years. So the annuities very definitely relate to the length of service of the Governor-General. And again, it would be much more transparent if we had in legislation a fixed term for the Governor-General, so that the Remuneration Authority didn't have to guess for each new Governor-General that was appointed how long they might serve, what the government might determine their length of service to be. And if it was a fixed term, the Remuneration Authority would know exactly where it stood in determining these annuities. So I think that it is a pity again that second part of my SOP number 173 that unfortunately isn't becoming before this committee, it would have straightened out that and made it much easier for the Remuneration Authority. There is, and it may be the Remuneration Authority decides to reduce some of the annuities, because we are in rather tight times now, and to have 6 months redundancy pay amounting now to $96,000 and then $62,000 a year annuity for the rest of your life, the Remuneration Authority may well decide that, that may be a little bit excessive. They may not, of course, but I think it's something we should consider. We don't want to spend huge amounts on the Governor-General. We don't want them to feel too much privilege, because we want Governor-Generals who are like us, ordinary people, to reflect the society. It's great that we have in a Governor-General who does, I think, reflect many New Zealanders, but I think it is important that they don't get too great a remuneration and annuity so that they think they're up with the elite in our society and are not dealing with real ordinary day life. And I think the fact that Governor-Generals go around the country opening bowling clubs and all the rest of it, it does put them into contact with ordinary people, and I think that their remuneration and annuity should be commensurate with that task. It's not a heavily political task on a day-to-day level, although the Governor-General does play a very important constitutional role, particularly in our MMP system.
Dr. Rajan Prasad.